Welcome back to the channel. The last few weeks have been absolutely jam-packed with awesome deals for the Nintendo Switch over on the eShop. From action games, to shooters, to beat-em-ups, to cozy games and casual games, to fighting games, retro and classic games, it's been a lot, which is good for us gamers. There's a bunch of deals that are set to leave the eShop in the upcoming week, including a ton around early Monday morning or so. So time is ticking, but I got you covered with some sweet deal recommendations to pick up and check out before time runs out. The remastered, enhanced versions of the first two Quake games are not to be slept on. They look good with the new HD presentation, lighting and updated textures and models of course, but the content contained is what shines here. There's a lot of features included with these games. There's an updated control scheme for modern controllers, gyro aiming support, the original expansion packs are included, new content such as the Horde mode, brand new expansion for each games, and online and local multiplayer support. Plus, you can download free additional mods and missions. Previously, the games have been on sale for $3.99 each, which they are now again on the eShop, but now there's a new bundle that includes both games, and it's only $5.99. For $3 each? Yeah, that's a heck of a deal. If you love FPS games and are itching for some fun on the Switch, make sure you get that bundle. Slime Rancher Plortable Edition has you capturing and raising slimes on your slime farm. It's different from other farm games or games of this style, as this is done entirely from a first-person perspective, and you use a gun to perform most actions, sucking up and dispensing the slimes, feeding them, and such. It's a bit of a quirky game, but I like it. It stands out from other sim games. If you're looking for a nice chill game, then you can do no wrong by getting this on the Switch. And good news, it's on sale for a brand new low price too. It's just $9.99 until April 8th. It took a long time, but we finally got a new Bobble game that is truly worth playing. Bobble Everybubble captures the charm of the series. It has cute visuals, the iconic music too, and it has the gameplay down pat, but it also adds some new gameplay twists as you play through the story mode and challenges that improve on the classic formula. There's a good sized story mode that can be played in co-op with others up to 4 players. There's some nice multiplayer competitive modes, online 2-player versus, and a crossover game mode called Bobble vs Space Invaders. If you're a fan of the Bobble series, or just looking for a good puzzle game for the Switch, then definitely pick up Bobble Everybubble. It's on sale for $27.99, which is a brand new low price for it on the eShop. JaJaMaru, the Great Yokai Battle plus Hell Deluxe Edition is a bundle of a bunch of games from the JaJaMaru series. First of all, it has the newest release, the arcade action platformer that is in the style of the very first game in the series. This game is a lot of fun, I love the new take on the gameplay, and it's even better when you play in co-op. It also contains the Retro Collection, which has 5 games in the series. It has the first game on the Famicom, JaJaMaru, it has JaJaMaru Big Adventure, JaJaMaru Operation Milky Way, as well as Super Ninja Kid, a pretty good Super NES game, and The Great Adventure, which was one of the games made for the Game Boy. It's a good set, a good value, for just $9.89 via the latest eShop sale. Funtasia is a side-scrolling, physics-based racing game where your job is to reach the finish line as fast as you can. As easy as it sounds on paper, it's actually not that easy to achieve. You gotta master your timing and balance over the many ripples, speed bumps, cliffs, and other obstacles that the game throws at you. There's 40 different cars to master, tons of challenges to complete, online leaderboards to track your times, and boss battles. Yes, boss battles to face. Also, I gotta say, it's got a crazy and trippy art style going for it. It reminds me of a certain 90s art style, and I just can't quite put my finger on it. There was an art style that was really popular then, that the game reminds me of, and if I figure it out, I'll post it in the comments. Anyway, it's just $1.99, a brand new low price for it. Not a bad deal for just $2. Disco Elysium is a narrative-driven RPG game where you play as a detective who has lost his memory and must solve a murder case. Now this is a role-playing game that does things a bit different from most other RPGs on the Switch or elsewhere. Instead of focusing on combat like most games, its focus is on events that are affected by skill checks and dialogue choices. There's 24 skills of the protagonist that can affect the game's story and events. Because of this, the story and outcomes can change wildly depending on what skills you favor. It's a surprisingly deep game that goes beyond what most tabletop-style RPGs offer, with a heck of a story attached to keep you interested. The Final Cut Edition brings in voice acting for the game, which for this game with the amount of text going on, that's pretty impressive. In addition, there's new quality of life improvements, as well as new content to help further flesh out the game. If you like tabletop-style RPGs, or you're looking for a meaty story to sink your teeth into, then check out Disco Elysium, the Final Cut on Switch. It's only $11.99 right now, which is a brand new low price for it on the eShop. Publisher PlayOn has a number of games for dirt cheap, but the following two bundles are my personal recommendations. Saints Row, the Big Purple Package, contains both Saints Row the 3rd and Saints Row 4 in their complete definitive forms, with all the DLC in one bundle for $4.49. That's like $2.25 per game. That's an insane deal for two fun, classic open-world games that will make you laugh. Plus they got online co-op. Make sure a buddy gets the games too. Metro Redux has Metro 2033 Redux and Metro Last Light Redux in one bundle for $4.49 too. These are two fun, horror-themed, story-driven, first-person shooters that are worth playing whether you like horror games or just looking for a good shooter on Switch. Finally, not a bundle, but still good and cheap, there's Red Faction and Guerrilla, a open-world, third-person shooter that's notable for its destructible environments. In fact, for me, that's half the fun, just blowing stuff up in the game. Beyond the single-player story mode, there's the ability for multiplayer play, with up to 8-player local play and up to 16 in online multiplayer. It's not too shabby, but just $2.99, an insane value for such a fun game. I just gotta say, one of Switch's best JRPGs is Ni no Kuni 2 Revenant Kingdom. The Prince's Edition on Switch looks and plays well, but more importantly, it's a terrific game with a good story and cast of characters, and the gameplay overall is fun, even with it dropping the monster aspect from the first game. It's on sale right now for $9.59, which is a steal to be honest, and that's the cheapest I've ever seen it go for on Switch, whether it be digital or physical. I just want to throw this next game in, because it's so cheap that it's almost a no-brainer to pick up at its price. At $5.99, Shining Resonance Refrain is a fun JRPG to pick up from the partner sale. It's an action-based game with a lot of gameplay comparable to the Tales series from Bandai Namco. Now, it's not the best RPG on the system, I don't want to oversell it, but for just $6, it's hard to beat at that price. I got a soft spot for Persona 3, especially the portable version, because that's the first version of the game I played through from start to finish. While not every aspect of the game has aged wonderfully, the cast of characters and story still holds up, as well as the tried and true gameplay, making it a worthy play. In addition, it's a bit darker than the later two Persona games. It acts like an in-between from the very dark, horror-themed Megami series proper and the lighter in approach Persona games, and it's something I've always appreciated. Anyway, it's on sale for $11.99, which is a new low price for it. It's very much worth getting at just $12. Persona 4 by itself isn't on sale, but if you don't own either game, you can get both Persona 3 and Persona 4 together for less than $22, which breaks down to less than $11 per game. That's an insane deal, especially considering Persona 4 Golden is one of the better RPGs ever made. Persona 4 Arena Ultimax is a fighting game by Arc System Works that features the characters of Persona 4 as well as Persona 3 dueling against each other. Its gorgeous, fast-paced, and combo-deep gameplay is a treasure, and even if you're not a big Persona fan, as a fighting game, it's a pretty impressive game, and one that should not be missed out on. It's on sale for just $8.99, which is a brand new low price for it via the latest eShop sale. While we're on the topic of fighting games by Arc System Works, let me bring to your attention 2 games from their famous Blazblue series. The first one is a spin-off that features characters from the Blazblue franchise, facing off against characters from Persona 4, Ruby, Under Night In-Birth, Arcana Heart, and more. The special edition of the game is the way to go, as it contains a ton of DLC, basically all the extra characters, which is what you want. It hasn't been on sale in the eShop in a long time. This is the first time it's been on sale in over a year, and for $12.49, it's by far the cheapest it's ever been. Now there is a version of the game without any DLC for $5, but trust me, stick to the special edition. It's worth the value. Blazblue's Central Fiction is the 4th game in the series, and the special edition on Switch is pretty much like the last game I talked about, as it contains all the DLC, extra characters, and updates, basically the final ultimate release of the fun arcade fighting game. Just like the other Arc System Works games, this is a visual treat, and it's fun to pick up and play too, but of course it has deep and rich gameplay that is sure to please fans of fighting games. It's on sale for $12.49 until April 16th. The Sega Ages series of games, developed by M2 for the Switch, feature classic games with highly accurate emulation, but they also include additional features that take the games far beyond what most classic re-releases include. For example, in Phantasy Star, they added features such as modes that rebalance the game and an in-game map, and in Virtua Racing, they include 8-player online multiplayer, as well as settings to adjust the game that were not present in the original arcade release. Now, not every game is on sale from the Sega Ages series, but most are, and I have the full list on screen for you. If I had to recommend some must-gets from the set, it'd be Phantasy Star, which is a terrific 8-bit RPG, Virtua Racing, which sees its best version here on Switch, and Thunder Force and Lightning Force, which are 2 awesome shooters. While it's not my favorite Sega collection ever, for just sheer value, Sega Genesis Classics is a good deal at just $5.99. There's over 50 games included, from beat-em-up games, to Sonic games, to RPGs, to puzzle games, arcade stuff, and more. That's a heavy amount of games for just $6. It's worth checking out if you love the 16-bit era of gaming. Speaking of classic games, let's not forget the Konami collections, which are on sale for $3.99 each. In each collection, you get a bunch of games for just a few bucks. The Contra Anniversary Collection contains 10 games from the series: Contra Arcade, Super Contra, Contra for the NES, Contra for the Famicom, Super C, Contra 3, The Alien Wars, Operation C, Contra Hard Corps, Super Probotector, and Probotector. It's an awesome collection covering almost everything from the series, from the early arcade to the 8-bit and 16-bit eras. The Castlevania Anniversary Collection has Castlevania, Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest, Castlevania 3, Dracula's Curse, Super Castlevania 4, Castlevania The Adventure, Castlevania 2, Belmont's Revenge, Castlevania Bloodlines, and Kid Dracula, which for the last game, it was never released in English before until it arrived on this collection. If you're a fan of the Castlevania series, it's a must-own for $4. Hell, for the Virtual Console back in the day, you'd be spending more for just one game, and here you get a bunch. And finally, there's the Arcade Classics Anniversary Collection, which really should not go by that title. It should be Arcade Shoot 'em Up Classics Anniversary Collection or something, because the majority of the game are shoot 'em ups. Bad naming aside, if you like classic shooters, especially from Konami's catalog, it's not a collection to sleep on. It has Scramble, Trin B, Nemesis, also known as Gradius, Salamander, also known as Life Force, Typhoon, also known as Ajax, Vulcan Venture, also known as Gradius 2, and Thundercross. The lone non-shooter in the collection is Haunted Castle, an arcade entry in the Castlevania series. Again, for just $3.99, that's a darn good deal if you have an interest in these games. Cult of the Lamb was one of my favorite games that I played last year. I got hooked during the free trial that Nintendo did and ended up going after a physical copy. Anyway, this game has you taking control of a lamb and building your flock of followers while exploring the 4 regions after becoming saved from death by a strange being. In order to succeed in your mission, you're going to need to preach to your cult, feed them, and sacrifice them. Yeah, things are going to get bloody. It's unlike anything out there. It's a game that's a bit crazy on paper, but it ends up being a pretty addictive experience as you balance your cult life and beat down the horrors in each region. Another impressive thing for the game is the updates. They just keep releasing huge updates for the game and add a bunch of content, including one that was just released around 2 months ago. So if you get this game, expect more stuff to come. The special edition includes the game, and the DLC pack adds some extra follower skins, and it's on sale for $17.99 during the partner sale. On sheer value, you cannot deny the Assassin's Creed Anniversary Edition Mega Bundle for the Switch. This bundle includes Assassin's Creed 2, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, Assassin's Creed Revelations, Assassin's Creed 3, Assassin's Creed 3 Liberation Remastered, and Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, and Assassin's Creed Rogue. Plus, this collection has all the single-player DLC stuff, and extra stuffs like movies that help tie in the story. That's a lot of stuff for $40. One of the best puzzle games on the Switch, and actually one of Switch's highest rated games, is Tetris Effect Connected. It has a 94 on Metacritic for the Switch version, which is insane for a puzzle game. After playing the game though, it's no surprise. It's a terrific game based on the experience alone. As you play, the background changes and moves to the beat and your actions in-game, as well as the music changes, and it's a treat for the eyes and the ears. The connected version adds to the original experience by introducing fun, co-op, and competitive multiplayer options, including cross-platform online multiplayer, and a new mode among the many new ones included called Connected, where up to 3 players can team up and connect their Tetris matrices to take on the computer. It's $19.99 on the eShop, and while it's not the cheapest puzzle game on Switch, it is one of the very best, and one that you'll keep going back to again and again. If you got a Switch and you love RPGs, then you have to check out The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. It's a game with some of the best world building in the genre, and its story will keep you engaged for hours and hours throughout the massive length of the game. Now, a lot of people ask, why get the Switch version? Well, for one, and this is one that most are unaware of, the cross-save feature makes this version a wonderful companion to other versions, as you can take the adventure on the go and take that save and play it on another platform like PC if you wish, or vice versa. Now that's exactly what I've done, and considering the length of the game, with the complete edition, which includes those 2 massive expansions, it's something I welcome, as I can knock out stuff on portable mode, and then go play on PC when I want a nice full-screen experience. On top of the cross-save feature, they've added stuff like post-processing options to the Switch version that allows you to adjust the visual look of the game, and you can actually make it look better than when it was originally released for the Switch. Beyond all that, Witcher 3 is an amazing experience. It's truly amazing that they got this game to work and run on the Switch, and its great story and cast of characters and terrific world building. It's just a game that is worth playing by any means. Every time I play Grid Autosport, I get quickly reminded why I consider this game to be one of the best racing games for the platform. What Codemasters have done to make this game look so good on the Switch is pure magic. Now you might remember this game from the PS3 and 360 era, but note, this game is just not a simple port. They took the game and essentially remastered it and custom fit it to the Switch, and is considered to be the very best version of the game. There's a high-res textures pack to download, it's free, that helps to make the game look absolutely gorgeous. As you can tell with the video here, it's one of the best looking games for the system. In addition to that, there's a ton of control options, including GameCube controller support for analog triggers, and of course the game comes with a bunch of adjustments and settings to custom fit the experience to your needs. It's on sale for $24.99, which, while that means it's not the cheapest game in today's sale, it's still worth picking up at that price, because of how good the racing experience is. The Wonder Boy, the Dragon's Trap remake, is absolutely gorgeous. Beautiful hand-drawn animation and visuals give the classic game a brand new life, as well as a fantastic new soundtrack pleases the ears. The original game is one of my absolutely favorite games for the Sega Master System. It's an early example of a Metroidvania before that ever was a thing. You play as an adventurer who's been turned into a lizard. You gotta defeat and cure this curse, but you'll also get other forms that will both help you with your exploring as well as in combat. I highly recommend this one. It's one of the best remakes out there, and it's a great way to experience this classic. It's down to a brand new low price from the eShop, just $5.99, an amazing deal for this gem. Ys Origin is quite a bit different from other games in the series. It's the first game not to feature the series lead of Adol. Instead, it features brand new characters to play and a story set 700 years prior to the start of the main series. Also, even though it is an action RPG, it's more of a hack and slash style game. You'll be mowing through many enemies very quickly in fast combat. I like the change in style though. It's fun as heck and challenging too, and some of those boss battles will absolutely test your reflexes. It's a very solid pickup for the Switch at just $5.99. Might and Magic: Class of Heroes was a favorite game of mine back in the day. I discovered it on the 360 through their Xbox Live Arcade service, though I imagine many played it on the DS, which is actually where it first appeared on. I was really hooked by the puzzle/strategy RPG nature of the game. It's a really unique experience, one that I just haven't seen an equivalent of since the game came out years ago. The Definitive Edition brings the game into the modern era with a cleaned up full HD presentation, online multiplayer options for both co-op and PvP, and it also includes the I Am a Boss DLC, which allows you to play as the villains of the game. It's on sale for $12.59, a brand new low price for it on the eShop, and it's one I highly recommend for fans that love strategy games. Alwa's Awakening is a neat 8-bit style game that has you exploring an interconnected world like most Metroidvanias, but this time with a little less emphasis on enemy combat and more on solving puzzles in each room you encounter in order to navigate to the next room. I really like it, and when I played it some years back, I got super addicted and ended up beating it in one day. It took me around 10 hours or so to beat it. It's a well-made game, very enjoyable, and one that's a solid pickup at just $4.49. The sequel, Alwa's Legacy, continues where the first game left off, with similar gameplay, though this time it's presented in a 16-bit style as opposed to an 8-bit style. You still gotta solve puzzles, though this time there's a bit more action to the game, and you definitely gotta make some tricky jumps, as well as take on more enemies in this one compared to the first game. It's a well-made Metroidvania that's worth checking out. It's on sale for a brand new low price of $8.09 until April 8th. Oh, by the way, if you intend on getting both games, do not get the bundle. While it's on sale, it'll cost you more than buying it separate for some strange reason. I have to imagine it's some kind of weird pricing error. Paying Adventures is the modern take on the classic arcade series. You still gotta pop the bubbles as quickly as possible, but this time, there's a bunch of weapons at your disposal, and there's also boss battles. You gotta fend off an alien invasion. There's 3 different modes: a tour mode that acts as a campaign, a score attack mode, and a panic mode that has you going through 99 stages in a row to see if you can survive. It's on sale for a brand new low price in the eShop. It's just $2.99 until April 8th. One of my absolute favorite beat-em-up games on the Switch is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Shredder's Revenge. Developed by Dotemu, it captures the feel of the older TMNT games, as well as the famous animated series from the 80s to 90s, with some nice modern gameplay touches. The combat is fast and fluid, it's easy to pick up and play, just like the games of old, making it a great game for everyone to get into, and the ability for 6-player multiplayer makes it really stand out compared to other beat-em-up games out there. Usually you see 2-player, sometimes 3 or 4, but 6-player multiplayer makes for a crazy experience. Only the old X-Men arcade game comes to mind with a similar experience. The game itself is down to a brand new low price of $16.74 on the eShop. The Dimension Shell Shock DLC adds a bit more content to the game with a full-fledged survival mode with new content made specifically for that, 2 new playable characters to the roster, and new tracks and color palettes to unlock. It's on sale for $6.79. You can save even more by getting the bundle with the game and the DLC together for $22.25. Figment 2 continues the adventures of Dusty and Piper as they make their way through the once peaceful areas of the mind. There's puzzles to solve in this action-adventure game, just like the first game, and musical-themed boss fights. The musical aspects of the game actually help it to stand out in production value and give it a unique charm. It's on sale for a brand new low price of $8.74 on the eShop. If you're looking to check out the first game, that is super cheap. It's only $1.99 on the eShop. Streets of Rage 4 is a beat-em-up game, our second on today's list, and it's considered to be one of the very best games in the genre on the console. The game is the long-awaited sequel to the Sega series, with 5 different playable characters, a beautiful hand-drawn visual style, which is made by the same studio who made the Dragon's Trap remake, and a pretty kick-ass soundtrack that does the series justice. In addition to local multiplayer, there is online multiplayer too, which sadly is a feature that seems to be missing from a lot of beat-em-up games these days, so it's nice to see that this game has it. Anyway, it's on sale for $12.49 until April 8th. Fight Crab is just one silly game. There's no way around it. It's freaking bonkers. You play as a crustacean and take on others in almost kaiju-like monster battles, while using weapons that you pick up or bring into battle to flip over the other crustacean on its back and have them stay down for a set amount of time to win the match. Now the control of the crustaceans is also awkward, on purpose mind you, and it can take a little bit to master. But honestly, that's the fun of the game. The awkwardness, the silliness, the absolute bonkers nature of the game. It's crazy enough, it's dumb enough that I can just recommend it because it's guaranteed to make you laugh. It's on sale for $9.99, and trust me, you can do a whole lot worse with your $10. It's worth checking out on the crazy premise alone. The Falconeer has you taking to the sky in air combat as a warbird. You gotta dive, dodge, and shoot enemies in air combat through a nice sized campaign. It's a pretty game too. It's got a nice presentation, there's voice acting and all, but more importantly, it's very fun to play. The Warrior Edition contains the game with all the updates as well as all the DLC content too. It's down to $7.49, its first sale in nearly a year, and the lowest price it's ever been on the eShop. Infernax is unlike most retro-style action games. Every action, every decision you make has ramifications on how the game turns out, as well as affects the many game's endings. It's also quite violent, as you can tell. It's pretty intense and bloody. Between the many decisions to make, you gotta take the experience that you do earn and save the kingdom, navigate through tough dungeons, and face off against challenging bosses. It's on sale for $13.39, which is a brand new low price for it on the Switch eShop. Fans of run and gun games need to check out Blazing Chrome if by some chance they haven't yet, because holy cow, it's a blast from start to finish. It's a very fast-paced, action-packed game with some intense stages and boss battles. It reminds me a lot of the later Contra games, the 16-bit era, and it absolutely nails that style. It's on sale for $6.79 until the 8th. Vengeful Guardian Moonrider is a 16-bit style action platformer that is inspired by Sega's Shinobi series, Koei Tecmo's Ninja Gaiden series, and even to a degree, Konami's Contra series. You play as a ninja warrior as he takes on super soldiers and his own creators in a non-stop quest for vengeance. At times you gotta do some tricky platforming, take on hordes of enemies, ride a motorcycle, and of course, take on some insane bosses. If you want a game that feels like a thrill ride from start to finish, then get this game, because that's exactly what it is. If you're looking to get it on the Switch, it's on sale for a brand new low price of $11.04 until April 8th. In Young Souls, you play as one of the orphans, Jen and Tristan, in a side-scrolling RPG beat-em-up that has you taking on goblins in a universe parallel to ours. As you play and beat up the goblins, you'll be able to unlock and upgrade your weapons, armor, and accessories to improve and customize your character. Now, beyond the RPG aspects of the gameplay, what really stands out is two things. It's the presentation for one. It's got a neat visual look that stands out compared to other beat-em-ups on Switch. And second, it's a narrative-driven experience. Most beat-em-ups kind of throw you into a thin story, but this one actually has a huge and deep story to discover as you play through it. It's on sale for $11.24, a new low price for it on the eShop.